for me, but I think it's because it's coming out of our house and then going into space and then coming back to my house.
And our house is big, crappy internet right now. So.
Yep.
Okay, let's get
Right.
this started then. I think we got enough people over. So
We'll find it.
my name is Dan Teasdale. I make video games, and one of the games I made a long time ago, 10 years ago now, which is scary, is Destroy All Humans. I should probably introduce everyone else on the channel first. We have Skippy Granola.
Hello.
We have Zeta.
He's eating or something.
Zeta is eating or something, so he'll be surprised when he comes back and finds us on a different channel. And Panzer.
Right.
Hello.
Okay, so this build, I'll guess a little bit of background first. So this was made by Pandemic Australia. We were a pretty small studio to start off with. We were 10 people, and then we grew to 35 people towards the end of Destroy All Humans. And this was kind of a big breakout project. Before that, we worked on the amazing Army Men RTS. And between that, we worked on a cancelled game called Oddballs, which I showed a little bit of at PAX last year. And once I figure out who actually owns the IP for that, then I guess we'll try and show that as well. So I got a couple of builds here. This build is, I believe, a month after E3 2004. So this is after we basically duct taped a build together, showed it, and then realized we had to make a game and started cramming in all the game bits. So let's just walk around it. Also, you other guys on the talking bits, because I'm good at words. If you guys see anything that you have questions or you think's interesting, yell out and I'll answer. Or if someone says something in the chat that's interesting, yell and tell me what the chat says, and I'll try and answer anything I can.
Aye.
You bet.
This is our shell. Woohoo! So we did to prototype all our shell out. We just did sketches for everything. It's actually got pretty close to what we ended up shipping. There's Orthopox's lab. You could go in and choose what you wanted to upgrade, and it would give you, it's basically similar to what we had. I think we had more granular upgrades in the final version. It's all a hazy blur. What else did we have here? We had the archives, which was kind of our bonus section, which pretty much stayed pretty similar. We had the statues on the left and the right of the main sort of archive screen to show you that you'd finished the game or you did something cool. And in the archives, we had our achievement system before there were achievements, which was really cool. So you would unlock bonus things by destroying billboards or like throwing something in a particular way. So basically, we were the best at predicting what new consoles would be like. Look at that awesome text. We aligned all of our text perfectly.
I'm not gonna lie.
Okay, so let's jump in the game. So we ended up shipping this pretty much the same maps that we planned to. I don't think there's anything new here. I'm pretty sure we shipped Uniontown. Uniontown was kind of like the base of what we started prototyping with, and then we sort of blew it out to all of the maps in the game. I'm just going to jump into the farm, which was our E3 demo level, and you can see how much of the duct tape fell off like immediately after E3. Oh yeah, while this guy's flying up, this is actually doing a level load behind it, and so we did this long animation to cover how long we thought the load was going to be. And then the load ended up happening in like 3 seconds, and so we had all of these cool animations that we ran to cover a load that didn't exist, which was awesome.
Video games.
So in the E3 build, there was a bike coming down here, which doesn't exist because it broke instantly. And there was effects going on there, and then the bike got thrown.
Pathetic human.
You'll notice that that's not the shipping voice, and that's because we wanted all of the aliens to have English accents. THQ decided differently, and they wanted the Jack Nicholson thing, and that's kind of what we ended up shipping with. But I guess neither of us won, since Pandemic doesn't exist, and THQ probably doesn't exist now as well.
Right.
So one of the first things we wanted to do, I think this UI is different from what we had at E3. It's also different from what we shipped with, because we changed it like every 2 months.
Yep.
One of the first things we wanted to do was get a tutorial system in to start teaching people about the game. And so we basically just shamelessly lifted it from Metal Gear Solid. And we also had these ones as well. this is the needlessly over-explaining tutorial, which I no longer make for obvious reasons. Move using left analog stick.
It was definitely a different time back then.
It was.
Because like I remember playing this, in I guess on the PS2. I guess. But I really enjoyed it, for what it was. But when Big Willie Unleashed came out for the for the Wii, I guess the gameplay didn't hold up too well. It kind of, I don't know. I think gaming kind of progressed a little bit in the intervening few years.
Yeah. Look at that default thought that I didn't put in. That was great. So we started putting in real content, which means we had real stubs in here as well. We noticed that I don't think we ended up having this finally, but we have abilities on the D-pad that you would toggle between, and then you'd shoot them with the right analog stick. Can you hear my dog barking right now?
Yeah, let me go get her.
It's
What
not
did I
the
miss?
first time that puppies, made an appearance on stream, so it was quite okay.
So right now I'm reading thoughts of these cows. In the actual game, I think in the demo as well, it just said moo because cows aren't really thinking of anything.
Which I think is unfair to cows, but I think that's more, the writing team's fault.
So this was written by Tom Abernathy, actually. Nice segue. Who is now working at Microsoft. What a fantastic company Microsoft is. Also my current employer.
Right. Really drank the hell out of that Kool-Aid, APs.
Yeah, please keep employing me. Also, director on this was Brad Welch, who's now working at Microsoft as a lead on Halo 4.
Nice.
Cameron Brown came out to help direct. He's also now at Microsoft. Basically, everyone who worked at Pandemic now appears to work at Microsoft, which is nice for me.
Sure.
It makes it easy for you.
Psychokinesis, which is telekinesis with a different name.
Right.
So this is the same thing. We'd press up on the D-pad. The first ragdoll cow, I believe, if you're counting firsts, I think it has ragdoll udders as well, which we are really, really proud of.
Wow.
So beat the hell out of the cows. That cow got beaten to hell. So yeah, we're still basically trying to figure out how to turn this 10-minute demo we had into an actual full game. So there's these weird areas of polish combined with just random broken stuff. Hey, our alert system. So we simplified the alert system down a lot, but in this build, it's basically they can be curious about something, then become alert and become angry. I think we ended up simplifying that down a lot.
Hey Dan, Mr. Oatmeal Raisin would like to know, is Pandemic Australia the same pandemic that gave us Mercenaries?
That is
it?
It's the same Pandemic, but that was done by Pandemic in Los Angeles. That was actually Cam Brown's team. It's kind of weird. The games are very similar in that they both have flying and on foot sections, and they're huge open world games. But they're completely separate engines and tech and everything, which is kind of crazy in retrospect. Incoming message. Hypnoblast. Implant thoughts. So here is a secret about the Hypnoblast. Oh, look at that guy floating. So if I do this, see how it says follow me and cause distraction and all that? For the demo, it doesn't matter what you choose. It'll just do whatever the...
You name it,
it'll just do the follow me action, even if you do any of the other ones. That was kind of our head fake that we actually implemented this stuff when it didn't exist. So we're going to lead him back to...
Whoops.
Duct tape, ladies and gentlemen. So we'll take him back to the UFO. Also, a lot of VO is broken because it's post E3. Cameras are kind of broken. Pretty much all the stuff is usually pretty fragile, instantly breaks. So he's basically saying, I'm going to probe you or something. I'm an alien, I'll probe you. Hopefully.
You're a good dialogue writer, by the way.
Yeah, as you can tell, I didn't do the cinema writing.
Human, I am going to probe you now.
Prepare
yourself for probing.
Oh yeah, we had the Holobob, which you could disguise yourself with. So I'm going to disguise myself as a creature. and then we had a whole detection system. This was before we did the vine swinging, I believe. So in the shipping Destroy All Humans, you would have you would holobob into someone, and then you'd basically have this like energy timer that would tick down, and you'd try and basically read thoughts to repopulate that timer. And this was kind of our experiment before that, where we just have a straight cell system where you would get closer to people, the bar would increase and decrease. It basically kind of sucked. We also have holobobbing of animals, which I really, really liked, but our animators absolutely hated the turning animations on. So as you can see here, it looks completely ridiculous.
Wow. So my stream broke, so I'm actually looking in the other room to watch him do this. That's wow.
And you got the great jump animation for cows. Yeah. So these are the reasons why we didn't ship holobob for cows and other creatures.
Dear Mr. Teasdale, my name is Oatmeal Raisin, and I have another question for you.
Yes.
Is this running on an actual Xbox, or are you using a Magic Dev Kit?
This is running on an actual Xbox that has been soft modded, which is mainly because half of it is because I wanted to play at home, so I soft modded my Xbox. The other half is that it was very hard for us to get dev kits towards the end, so we did a lot of our endgame testing on soft modded PS2s and Xboxes, which is incredibly naughty. But none of the companies exist that this happened with, so that's totally fine to talk about.
Is it fine?
No, I'm probably gonna get in trouble tomorrow.
Is this? There's 81 people watching this. Are you sure it's fine?
I'm sure they're all nice people. Let's just keep it between ourselves. Oh, and these chickens. Right. Oh my god. So you might hear chicken noises in the background. We had this huge thread leading up to E3 where we put the chicken audio in the game. We didn't have any chickens, and people started complaining. It's like, you have chicken audio, which means we have to go and model chickens now. And so all of these chickens were modeled for E3 because we heard it in the ambient in the game. So that's why we have chickens in the game.
I like the pose on that white chicken in the back. It looks like he's got just kind of the Vitruvian cock, if you will. Okay. Just sitting there, just worship me.
So I'm gonna holobob as Mrs. Turnipseed and head around the back here. Scan the farmer's wife's mind. Oh, kill. Okay, excellent. All of my scripting broke. So now I have to kill the farmer's wife. So the way this worked is that you had the D-pad selection, and then you'd toggle between it with the X button. So I'm going to toggle to Zap-O-Matic. Did we have lock-on targeting at this point? No, we didn't. And I think this... There we go. Dead. Haha. So now, into the UFO. So this game originally started completely focused on destruction, which is why it's called Destroy All Humans. So we were planning on spending like 70 to 80% of our time in the UFO and like 20% on foot doing all the abilities. And that almost got us cancelled. We had a very strenuous meeting with THQ about, I want to say like 8 months in, where it was basically you need to focus more on the character and stuff like that, or we're probably not going to continue, passing your milestones. Which is probably a good call, because the alien stuff turned out to be like way better and some way better character draw. But at the same time, we kind of ended up in a situation where we were creating a stealth game called Destroy All Humans, which was kind of a little hard to balance sometimes. A little bit.
I found that the UFO sections were actually a lot more fun. They were a real treat. But I think it's just because they really didn't overstay their welcome.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
Yeah, we tried to keep them like narrow so that like they were fun, and we always had the like one thing I really liked about the old builds. I'm not sure if they're in or not, but they had the rockets that had the really slow movement speed and turn, so you could actually kind of predict and avoid them. Hey, is this something telling us about what will be in future milestones? Let's use the abductor beam. Yeah, we put in all these. Goddamn. Okay, abductor beam. So we had the abductor beam to pick up things.
Right.
Yep. So
it was a lot of fun.
A lot of fun. I think this is just after we got Havoc in as well, so it has all of the fun like Havoc physics things going on.
Absolutely. There's nothing better than wrecking balling a cow into a billboard.
Yeah.
You know what? I think there might be something just seriously wrong with me now that I hear that out loud.
You can also hear here. I believe these are my crappy sound effects that we put in before we hired him, who was our sound designer on Destroy All Humans.
It hurt.
So yeah, this is setting stuff on fire. The building destruction in the end ended up being pretty simplistic, where it had like the single mesh that went through. We actually prototyped a really crazy complex destruction system where buildings were divided up into cubes, and it was kind of semi-voxel-like, where you could destroy like chunks and you would see into like people's apartments and stuff. But it turns out those were really incredibly hard to make, and so we focused on stuff we could actually make. What does it want me to blow up? Oh, blow up the house. Okay. Oh, one thing. This is before the iPhone came out, and this is before the iPhone came out, and for some reason the iPhone uses the same set of default music for one of its ringtones. So if I wait for this music to finish,
Oh, no shit.
I go right here. Sound familiar? So that's also my my iPhone alarm sound. So that's kind of the demo run through. It's kind of broken. Let's go and. Do anyone have any questions before I jump into other stuff?
I'm absolutely reeling. That was just amazing seeing, how everything kind of was almost germinating. It's interesting just how much everything's tacked together for E3 just to get something that functions enough.
Especially for this as well. Like, we carried a dev kit into E3 on day one with all of the stuff in it because it was it came in incredibly hot. So this is Rockwell, I believe. This actually stayed pretty close to how it ended up shipping. Like, we still have the Ferris wheel. You go through. Can I knock it down in this build? I don't think we'd set. Oh yeah, we had set it up a little bit for physics, so we could knock off the carts. The level layout's pretty much the same. I think we had the movie theater in. Let's have a look. Yeah, like this is pretty similar to our layout. We hadn't put in all the missions yet, so this is where the radioactive zombie exploding cows come in. Actually goes through this part of the level, but we haven't built it yet. So this is what it looked like before we basically trashed this entire area and built a level over in this section. It's just oh wow, straight height map and textures and stuff.
So Bees, I have a couple of viewer questions for you here. Wallaville asks if you guys had any contact with Sandblast or any of the studios that made Destroy All Humans games after Pandemic.
I didn't, but I was long gone from Pandemic at that stage. So I left Pandemic. My last day was actually the day after we went gold on Destroy All Humans. Then I believe, Pandemic Australia did Destroy All Humans 2. And then I believe most of those guys ended up working, either splitting and working on their own stuff for EA, or going over to Pandemic LA and working on Mercenaries 2. So, as far as I know, there wasn't much communication, but I was out of the loop at that point.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, it makes sense, because, the later games in the series, I don't know, they seem to be missing something that made Destroy All Humans really a lot of fun. Another question for you, though. Grasslam asks, how did the game do at E3? How was the response? The
response was really good. We were at two E3s. We were at 2004 and 2005. In 2004 we were nominated for most original game, and we lost to Donkey Konga Jungle Beat, which
Well, hold on.
It was an okay game.
Bullshit. Okay, but that's conflating gimmicks with originality. It's like I could ship a game with a vibrating ham as a peripheral, and that'd be pretty fucking original.
Wait. What would you do with a vibrating ham peripheral? What game mechanic would this?
Panzer, I'm not a game designer.
Okay.
I'm an ideas guy. I'm a big picture guy. I'm just like, listen, okay? I got like a warehouse full of vibrating hams. I need you guys to make a game.
That's actually the story of where Guitar Hero came from.
So
Hey, see, actually, you know what? I lie. Basically, it's gonna be Samba de Amigo too. So,
Oh, okay.
look at that jump animation. It's so good.
I'm loving it. I love watching characters jump.
So yeah, I guess besides that that sort of chunk of level that hadn't been built yet, this is pretty much what we shipped for Rockwell. A lot of this was pretty stable. A lot of the stuff that was rushed in the last 3 months was all back-end content. What else can I guess I can show you the debug menu. So
Sure.
we had a bunch of stuff that we could just pull up at any time, like invulnerability or moving up and down between stuff. We could force reload like everything in the sandbox. We had ludicrous speed. Hang on, let me.
Oh man. Hey, I want to say on the topic of that jumping animation. Surprisingly, that's actually better than the jumping animation in Duke Nukem Forever. So, you guys can feel pretty good about that.
I feel a little better about that. So we have this thing called ludicrous speed. It's not in this build, but in the internal builds before this. This played the Benny Hill theme as you went around. We wanted to keep it in, but A, we didn't want to spend money to get the Benny Hill theme, and B, it kind of screwed with streaming off disk because you're going so fast that it's having to load in all of this, like pretty much the entire level all of the time. But it's still really fun just to oh yeah, there we go. It's still pretty fun just to tear around in super fast ludicrous speed.
It's just a pity that you guys weren't able to make it go to plaid.
It's true. That's what we would have done for Destroy All Humans 4, but maybe if someone good buys the Destroy All Humans IP. What else did we
can only
have?
hope.
Oh, we had telemetry. We had I built this really dumb thing called Tsunami, which was a remote monitoring thing that you'd run on your computer that would pass out information about what's going on in the game. And it just sent stuff out through Telnet, and that was pretty cool. But basically, you would turn that on, it would spam the log with all of this information. Let's see if actor debugging works. Of course, no, I can't find any actors. Here we are. Okay, this doesn't look like it's working. This was basically a thing that would just show us what each individual person is doing. Hide interface for screenshots, and then this is all the stuff that we used for passing milestones. We'd have the demo mission or the E3 mission. We'd have just a bunch of random cool stuff, essentially.
I have a privately sent question from one Mr. Garbad for you, Mr. Teasdale.
Yes.
He'd like you to explain exactly what it is you designed in this game. He wants to know, were you the lead designer, the level designer, UI, gameplay? What did you do?
So
Cheat menu.
Cheat menu only.
Let me move this to some of the icons I did while I talk about this. So these are my great icons I made. They're pretty great. So there was, we kind of grew and shrunk as a team. We started off as I want to say 4 designers. I started off as a straight sort of staff designer with Matt Harding as the lead designer on the project. He you might know him as Where the Hell is Matt. He's the guy that danced around the world. He basically did the pitch for Destroy All Humans and then headed off around the world to dance and become an internet superstar. And we kind of grew after that. I think we ended up being 6 or 7, I want to say. Brad Welch became the director / lead designer of the project. He's the guy that's working on Halo 4. And then I ended up becoming a senior on this.
His mic seems to have broken somehow.
Did I think, I might have lost.
No, he's still in the call, but his mic is out. We are
Oh,
just
dear.
a festival of broken shit.
Sorry about that. Is everything fine?
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes.
Hooray! That was weird. How far did I get before the voice went out?
I don't remember. You were just talking very fast.
Okay,
You- You said you were a senior.
yeah, so
Yeah.
then after Matt left, Brad became the director and lead designer, and I was the senior designer on it. I worked on, all of us worked on the farm, but I ended up taking it through to completion on the tutorial stuff. Rockwell. This was my level, which is I'm pretty much like it a lot. I ended up handing off some bits of it towards the end to some other designers to help finish.
What?
And then all the other levels we ended up passing out around the other designers. I also focused on a bunch of UI programming and development. I did a bunch of scripting on a bunch of stuff, some game logic. I did a bunch of video stuff. Like I ended up having my finger in a whole bunch of pies. But in terms of like levels and stuff, it was this level and the level beforehand, which is why they are so beautiful and perfect and have nothing wrong with them. So yeah, this is one of our old like map layouts essentially. Let me load up some other levels quickly before we switch to another build. So this map, Pandemic Australia, as you may have guessed from the name, was based in Australia. We're in Fortitude Valley in Brisbane, and we had this joke that the map should just be the continental United States and nothing else on the globe, because 50s America and America in general is so America focused. And we ended up shipping it, and no one got the joke because it mainly shipped in America. But that was kind of a sad joke that no one
Take
ever
that,
got.
Yankees.
Yeah,
Harrison.
the idea we
Space
had
Bronco.
the idea we had for how to end the game. I think we actually ended it like this, but didn't actually follow through. Was there's the globe, and you see like all of continental United States is destroyed, and Orthopox is super happy, and Crypto's happy, and then the globe rotates around and shows Europe, and they're like, "What?" And it's like, "Coming in next, destroy all the other humans." But,
Oh, Lord.
we never got a chance to make that.
It's like you forgot that we existed, didn't you?
So I'll skip through the other levels a little faster. So this is Santa Modesta, which changed a lot in terms of level content and stuff. This was Jamie's level. He was another staff designer on the game. In the shipping game, I believe this is where like the TV station and a bunch of other stuff is. But this was meant to be basically suburban America environment.
Study these humans further. Crypto, we must learn to control the human mind. It will make harvesting their brain stems much simpler.
Pox, be quiet for a moment. I can see something.
It's those men in black suits from
If you can hear the VO, this is our temp VO that we recorded in-house with a bunch of people. I think Crypto is being done by Paul, who was our IT guy. He actually works at BioWare Austin now, so we're in the same city again.
Check the specs for the subliminal anti-alien programming.
Yep.
Small world, I guess.
Here in this
It's the game industry.
Well then, let's get going.
I suppose it does
Fill up the streets on the way.
limit your pool of potential contacts.
Yeah, it's the human centipede of industries. In
That's
the worst way.
terrifying.
It's like the human centipede Ouroboros of industries.
I think you mean Ouroboros. Thank you.
Oh God, no!
Thank you.
It's not made of bears. Bears don't know how to make video games.
I think,
Oh, I
think
don't
if you Give him
know.
a chance.
So I don't
I
think
was educated by a song that bears, if they so wished, could throw out knowledge.
Fuck you.
So I don't think we shipped this mission. This is basically there's a car going around and it has a megaphone on top and it's going around different houses. I think we have to follow the car. Hang on. Don't let it get
So you've
away.
got, a malt-sipping teen just kind of sprinting alongside a car, saying stuff like "Golly gee willikers."
So you have to. I think it's pretty sure it's an escort mission because escort missions are great.
So here's a question that's really only tangentially related to this game in that it is a video game. But what's the deal with sewer levels? Like,
Just in
There's
general,
always-
I mean, tell
just
us.
why? Why is there always one?
Have you just been waiting
And
to
why
ask
are they
designers
always
that?
bad?
Yeah. Yeah, now that I've finally got, a captive audience of designers, I'd like to know why the fuck do you keep sending us into the sewers?
Well, we have a committee that meets up every quarter, and we decide what levels need to be put into every game. Basically, some people decide whether it's
What the
going to
hell
be.
just happened to you?
Oh, our audio
Physics.
system just busted as well, probably.
Wait a minute. Oh, that car just clipped through that other one.
Yeah, everything's exploding in
Yeah.
this build.
Yes, this level's a little less polished than some of our other ones.
I like that you're dodging the question, Mr. Teasdale.
Basically, it's a secret government conspiracy, essentially.
I had a feeling that there was a cadre of game designers who's like, you know what I love? Slogging through shit.
Well, I think if you actually if you go through and like listen to, I think it's the Unreal tutorials. It's been a while since I've looked at this stuff, but I think the Unreal tutorials train you to make hangars or box warehouses or things like
I hate
that.
that tutorial so
Box
much.
factories.
No, I was doing it's a tutorial for learning how to build levels in Unreal 3, and they're like, "Oh, make this room," and I'm like, "Oh, okay, this is a cool room," and I'm like thinking all the stuff I can do, and then the guy's like, "It could be like a warehouse where you keep boxes, or like a storage room for crates." I was like, "Fuck you!" I hate
It's like,
you.
hello, I'm new to video game design and I don't know how to make shapes.
Oh, okay. So this is kind of the same thing as, say, young writers writing like Hemingway, because that's the way the greats do it.
Wait.
Oh, hey, here's the
No.
TV station. So, oh, I failed the mission. Excellent.
Good job.
Let me do some combat. We haven't done some combat yet.
Yeah, nothing suspicious about this teen.
He's a heartthrob.
So this has our alert system. It has like weird like red exclamation points and yellow exclamation points and things like that. That got all simplified down. What
Right.
do we got? Cortex. Oh,
Because in the final game, it was basically just like fine and alert. Right.
what weapons? I haven't. Let me unlock everything. So I think all the weapons are actually the same ones we had. We just didn't have all the effects in this build. Like the skeletons are a little janky and that medic's in there. Obviously, the ion detonator is just a grenade launcher. Did we have the brain bug in the final build? I don't know if we did.
I don't remember, but the chat can probably tell us when Sid catches up.
Seem to recall. My favorite one was that. God, I wonder if it was this game, but there was the probe that just kind of right up the button that makes their head explode.
Oh, the anal probe.
Into a brain. Yeah.
Yeah, this is kind of the precursor to the anal probe. It was a sniper rifle that you would shoot and would make people's brains explode.
Oh, that's clever.
But we ended up changing that to the anal probe and sort of collecting DNA that way.
Right. I love the probe because I'm 6.
I haven't showed the UFO weapons properly yet either. So this is my awesome sound effects with the sonic boom. I think this is it's either slower or faster. I know we had a lot of talk about what speed this should be. Deconstruct is pretty much the same. Like a lot of these weapons we kind of nailed pretty early on. The sound system pretty early on.
Yeah. So it's not really hard to mess up giant death weapons on a UFO.
That's the thing. That's the easy part. So let me just do a quick fly around here, and then I'll skip around to the other levels. This level layout I believe, is completely different to what's shipped. I think there's a beach here that had a whole bunch of stuff that you started on. I think this is the area where you have to go into the pool party and abduct people, but this whole area is different. We started doing our city layouts before we did our mission layouts, and then realized that meant we had to redo huge chunks whenever we wanted to do missions.
Oof.
But this editor
Sounds nice in theory, though.
Yeah, this editor though we use is actually the Dark Green 2 editor that is massively changed to work in open worlds. So all of this stuff, we built a cool road system that stitches into the terrain. But all of the other stuff, like clamping stuff to different rotations and all the stuff that was in Dark Green 2, it has analogs in the editor that we use for this, which is kind of cool. It's the same terrain system as well. You might be able to tell. Okay, let me.
Oh, Chimera asks, who came up with the idea of naming the aliens after diseases?
I think that was either Matt or Andy. Andy Payne was our project lead. I want to say, I always get this confused because I could have sworn this was some of the inspiration for it, but I think that it was just like multiple people coming together on top of one thing. Actually, I remember now exactly what's going on. There were two paths for this. The one path was the Onion article about Cryptosporidium Days, which is like this festival they were holding in a town to celebrate the disease Cryptosporidium. And I could have sworn that's like where one of the origins of like crypto came from. Then it just kind of expanded out to orthopox and meningitis. I don't think we had meningitis in here besides like a throwaway line. And then the other one was we originally were thinking of having a sidekick for crypto, which was just a single cell amoeba. And we would cut away at various times to the single cell amoeba, which would just be like do nothing. It would be like the most useless cutaway ever. But we didn't end up doing that, and that was kind of inspired us along the disease route as well.
I have another question for you from Mr. Garbad.
Mm-hmm.
He says, if you could make this game again, what would you do to improve it?
Space Beasts. The original, like the flipping to character focus version of the game, was kind of a little more Pikmin, actually. You would go through and you would collect all of the humans into your UFO and use them as a currency, and then feed them to like these space beasts, which like 50-foot woman, huge monster things, and you would go through and it'd be this back and forth of being on the ground to collect all of these guys and then having this huge payoff of just destroying huge tracts of city land of these monsters. We didn't end up getting it in the game. We ended up shifting focus too much, but I have a really cool going away present that I still have with me, which is this 20 by 30 poster of the Space Beast concept art signed by everyone on the team.
Oh, you know what? Let me take a photo of that and I can post it into the chat right now.
Awesome.
Nice.
Yeah.
Give me just a moment. I'll take a photo. It's in our corner behind a bunch of moving boxes.
But that was one of
Sounds like a
Really?
hell of a lot of fun, actually.
I think it would have been more mechanic focused. I think it would have been pretty cool, but different
Sure.
direction essentially.
Yeah,
Uh,
man. Because
well,
one of my sort of like pet game ideas, one of my wouldn't it be cool if is just kind of a kaiju style video game in which you tromp cities as a monster, kind of like I guess the Godzilla game.
Yeah, that came out
game
pretty.
or whatever.
Yeah, I forget the name of it. It came out like a couple of months before we came out. So this is Area 42. Before it was made, I'm pretty sure this is just a copy of Santa Modesta that's had all of the objects taken out. So you can kind of see a level before any detail work's been done. There's like some roads, there's the vehicle systems operating, the pedestrian systems operating, but underneath all of that is just terrain, essentially.
So what? I don't know if this is maybe a really big question, but what's kind of the process for putting together a town? Like, what kind of stuff do you keep in mind?
A lot of it is cool. What's the word? My brain is not working.
memorable things.
Memorable things like focal points, essentially.
Right.
And so it's
Set pieces.
set piece.
Yeah, it's the word.
It's kind of set piecey, but it's more the Naughty Dog guys talk about it a lot with their Uncharted level design, where you build it with these like really memorable like
Vistas.
milestone
Almost.
moments, essentially.
Yeah.
And people use that to like navigate around. So we kind of built the same kind of thing as well, where we had like the TV station or the theater or the main road, and we'd build those out so that wherever you were, you had other points of reference. you
Some
could go
kind
to
of
as well.
landmark. Yeah.
Yeah. So our kind of process on this ended up being kind of sketching out like the basic areas that those things would be, and then building out a rough plan, just dumping in props and different assets to make that work, and then setting missions in them, and like setting missions to go from X to Y, or to basically tie the whole story together, essentially.
It seems like
It's
it'd
just
be
funny
really
to see how
challenging.
far
For
it came.
So I believe
Oh,
this,
Skippy.
I
Sorry.
believe this is the middle version of Uniontown, which starts off with you getting shot down and put into a cage.
I was gonna say, it's just interesting to see like how far it's come since just the concept it was supposed to be.
Yeah, it's changed quite a lot.
I've posted the concept art in the chat if anyone wants to click, pro click
Yeah.
on that.
Looking at that, it's just...
It's really big, and it's in our study.
It almost looks like a hydralisk.
It's cool as hell.
Yeah, it's a StarCraft thing. Well, anyway, it's just interesting to see how it's almost completely changed genre. I'm just curious, how does that happen? Does it just naturally occur through the testing process, or is it something that occurs in a meeting?
For us, it was the threat of not getting paid, and that kind of inspired us to change genres a little. Usually, it's a little more organic. Like a feature won't be working. Like our stealth stuff's a pretty good example of that, where we were trying something that was more like maintaining distance and things like that, and it just didn't work out. So the stuff in here with distance and like keeping it disguised the entire time ended changing to vine swinging, where you'd do like the Pac-Man style back and forth of like holobobbing and then getting around trying to get stuff to recharge that and finding safety, and like it became a little tighter in that regard and less actual stealthy. So if I remember correctly, I can PK the lever if it will let me target it. We had a bunch of collision problems with this cage because it's a big ass cage.
I've got another question for you that's a little bit more of a general question from Hawk Z. How many in-jokes are in the game, and would you like to share any of them?
Oh,
That's a good one. Hang on, let me just... Oh, he just walked through the thing. That's going to break the level. Let me cheat.
Okay.
Whoops.
There we go.
That's what cheats are for.
So yeah, we have a bunch of in-jokes. I've probably forgotten most of them. The only one that comes to mind off the top of my head is at the end of the second mission in Rockwell. It talks about we have these newspapers that spin up, and one of them that spins up talks about people going into mass delusions and being taken to Shady Pines retirement home, and that was kind of actually a family in joke with my grandparents. Like when they go crazy, then they'll be sent to Shady Pines. So that was kind of like our own family in joke.
Aww. Aww.
I'm pretty sure it's a Golden Girls joke.
Yeah, but I think it was before Golden Girls as well.
Screw you, Zader.
Just any goddamn excuse to bring up Golden Girls, eh, Zader?
Come on, it was a decent show. It just doesn't get enough credit. At least Betty White's getting, the attention she deserves.
But it's a little hard for the
20 years
other
late.
guys to get credit considering they're all dead.
Yeah, I guess you can't really pay homage to a corpse.
Yeah. So I think this level is actually pretty close to what ended up shipping. It's a little farther along than I remember it being at this point. We ended up taking our demo level and turning it into this, but it's basically just a bunch of warehouses.
Basically just a bunch of warehouses.
In a yeah.
Warehouses where they keep
It was
all the
basically because
books.
our demo level
All
was
the
like
crates.
was a huge city, and it had these cool docks on the side, and we basically took those docks and turned those into an entire level. Okay, let me get out of here. And the last one is Capital City, which may actually be pretty close as well if Uniontown's pretty close.
I have a question for you.
Mm-hmm.
Are you going to show off the oddballs thing after this?
If I can find another controller, I'm not sure if I packed them or not.
Oh, damn it!
Right,
I forgot I would need to help with that. Fuck.
So
Those
yeah,
teeth.
Capital City's pretty much the same. We rushed this pretty much at the end to like cram in everything, so we didn't really have too much time for iteration. But yeah,
You mentioned iteration. What does that... Now, I mean, I kind of have a clue what you mean, but does anyone here...
I mean, just to explain it for everyone, it basically is like we'd put something in the game and basically go over it and over it again until it's absolutely honed tight. And so that's basically an iteration cycle is like one pass of putting something in the game and seeing if it works or not.
A cycle of feedback can maybe,
Yeah. So this actually looks a little more like our demo level. It actually might be our E3 level. We made a fake capital city for E3, and then took that and kind of changed it a lot for actual capital city. But my memory of which was which is very vague.
I sure hope it's the other way around.
Yeah, this looks like basically we built a fake capital city of like the Capitol building, a couple of roads, and then an area to fly around in the demo, and then we'd fade out at the end of the demo. And this looks like it's kind of halfway between that demo and what we ended up shipping. Okay, so yeah,
Interesting to see a snapshot.
Yeah, I kind of wish I have a build that's a lot closer. I have the alpha build on here as well. Let me fire up the alpha build now, because this is the last level on this build. You get to see my awesome soft-modded Xbox.
Okay, well, I guess I'll be back in a minute.
Sorry, I had to take the dog outside. It was great. She barked at a jingling bell from across the fence. Because her brain is just enormous. She's just so smart.
This dog is staring at me while I'm doing this.
That's because she wants you to take her out and not me.
So we have a couple of questions about the voice actors, and just basically, well, first of all, who decided on the voice actors, and
So we had,
I guess, the story behind that.
So we had a bunch of different voice actors. Richard Horvitz is the one that comes to mind off the top of my head. He's the voice of Orthopox, also Invader Zim, and my mind's going blank. Psychonauts.
Was Invader Zim sort of, I guess, the inspiration for getting Horvitz?
Not really. Oh, this logo. This is my crappy Pandemic Australia logo I made. It didn't ship for obvious reasons. So this is our alpha build. Unfortunately, we had so many alphas. I don't know when this was. It's probably somewhere between October 2004 and I want to say January 2005, February 2005. Things are a lot closer in this, but there's still a lot of missing content and broken bugs. We have the shell in for the first time with the slots. I can't remember if we shipped with the rotating aliens or if we just chose a slot, but this was our first stab at it. What else is new in this? I'm sorry, were we talking about something else before I cut us off?
Just the voice acting and.
Oh yes, voice acting. So yeah, we had Richard Horvitz doing a bunch of voices. We had a whole range of people. My brain is kind of going blank on a lot of them, but that was kind of decided mainly on our end, but then also a little bit of help on THQ's end for some specific voices, like the Jack Nicholson voice for Crypto. Like blanking on who did his voice right now, but like that was kind of more of a push from THQ than us. But it was definitely something that we both did together to try and find a good mix of people. So we have our statues in.
Let's see here. J. Grant Elbrecht.
Yes. So I think there's some bonus stuff that we cut here. One of the things that I wanted to do, which I'm pretty sure didn't ship, I say pretty sure because my mind is always foggy about this stuff. We put in developer messages in a version of the build that was like every person had a slot in the game where they could write whatever they wanted. Some people didn't end up sending me an email. Oh, hey, 2012 is in the past now. So this is like everyone on the team, basically, and they sent emails and filled out little files about themselves and gave thanks. It was just like a little tucked away area. What else do we have? Oh yeah, we had developer commentary, which we cut and ended up turning into developer Darwinism, which is it's on the final disc. I don't think it's in this one yet. No, it's just the blank.
I'm sorry, have we looked at your
Okay,
message yet?
Wait, what did I just miss? What the hell is this?
So this is the alpha build, which is about a year later. So there was a bunch of stuff. Yeah, like Developer Darwinism, which is it's probably on YouTube. It's really cool. It's got like a minute's footage from pretty much every major build compiled into one. It's got me and Brad and I believe Adam, who was the lead programmer, just
Oh,
talking about
that's
the game. And this is all the concept art. We hadn't built the concept art at this point. We haven't built videos out of it yet. What else did we have? We had a
I
bunch
think.
of...
Can we see your message?
Nope.
Yeah, come on.
Come on.
To M, I swear to God.
No, it's not.
Come on,
but
you
it's
cannot make
embarrassing.
us-
It's talking about me liking Indian food and stuff like that.
Well, Lisa, come on.
That's delicious.
Come
What's
on.
embarrassing about that?
You
No.
gotta show us, man. You can't be a cock tease like this.
There are some things I'm glad that no one will see, and one
No,
of them
you
is
gotta. Okay, I'm gonna come in there and
you
take the
have to
controller.
show it, or it's not a choice.
You have to do it.
maybe
Come
at
on,
the
Mr.
end.
Teasdale.
Maybe at the
This-
end if I'm
this
feeling
is-
like it.
This is in
Ah.
the interest of journalistic integrity, sir.
Should I
Yeah.
go in there and rest the controller?
No,
This is
I
a-
tell you
Yes,
what,
Drag out
go
interview.
Panzer.
Oh,
if
Hang on.
I'm feeling like it at the end, I'll come back and show some other messages.
All right, chat. Don't forget.
Ah, whatever.
Uh, I'm gonna keep going
Wait, is
because
she actually doing
I
that?
gotta keep going. Okay.
That's enough for now. Let's just keep moving. Oh,
So this is our new map, which I don't think this is the final map we shipped as well. I think we ended up going more of a full screen thing, but this is when we had multiple missions that you could do in each level. We had the mission archive using our debug UI that you go through and choose a mission to play. I think a lot of these missions got cut. Oh, we also had New Game Plus, which didn't make it.
oh, no, that's an interesting feature. Why would you choose to cut that? I never quite understood why many developers would cut that first.
It's mainly just because it's double testing, and the stuff it added wasn't really worth keeping in. I think we may have even cut the replay mission stuff just because it exposed too many bugs, but I can't remember. It was basically it was just we ratcheted up some numbers. It didn't really feel super satisfying. Excuse me. Okay, so let me fire up Termseed Farm in this build. The load animation's broken, but the sound still works. So we had cool, 50s style title cards instead of the text on this as well. Why is this in black and white?
because this shit's broke as fuck.
It may be because so we had a feature that shipped that I don't think anyone saw, and that's if you stayed still and did nothing for 5 minutes, the game would turn black and white, and anyone around you who was an actor would start dancing, and Walter Wanderley's Summer Samba would start playing. And I don't think anyone saw it, or anyone saw it who noticed. But it was really cool, and it's one of my favorite Easter eggs.
That's amazing.
That's possibly one of the best idle things that I've ever heard of.
Well, who the hell would wait around that long, though?
I don't know. You get up to Blasted Duke, but usually it falls.
Thanks for classing up the stream, Skippy.
You're welcome. That's what I'm here for. Blasted Duke, take a crunch, whatever,
Can you hear me
It's
now?
Close your
better
hair
than
back.
laying a mud dragon, but whatever.
Ho-ho!
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can.
Yeah, you sound just fine.
Yeah, I think my mic's cutting in and out. So this is more towards our final UI. We've got some animations in. It's a little wonky still. But it's getting there. Do I have a landing zone here, or am I screwed? It's another revision of the UI. I think this is closer to what we shipped. Still doesn't look super final though. Try landing. So this is a little more towards what we shipped for the farm. It has a little extended highway area here, because we built the farm basically for a tutorial, and then realized we still needed to have it act as a sandbox, so we built out some extra farm areas, and this highway that cuts through. There's like a bunch of hidden things you collect, but there isn't really much beyond the tutorial. We have the jetpack flying around. I think we nerfed that a lot towards the end, or put it into upgrades, but it's still pretty fun to fly around.
It was, I don't know, I thought the jetpack was tactically pretty important, because on the other hand, you know, you're kind of outnumbered and not that tough as an alien, so being able to fly just kind of gave you that semi-godlike feeling that was really, you know...
Oh, I'm not sure if we left this in, but whenever you died or abandoned someone on the planet, we'd create a new clone and we'd increment the number. So, like, it starts off at 137, and then goes up to 138, 139. Did that end up shipping?
It totally did, yeah.
Yes.
I remember that clearly, which I thought was pretty fucking clever, actually.
Okay, let's have a look. Yeah, I think I might have just broken all of the visual effects. Awesome. Well, we can check it out in black and white for added authenticity.
Instagram mode activate.
Let me see if I can turn that off.
Maybe restart the build. I don't know.
No, I think it'll just start up again. We can just keep playing in black and white for now. So yeah, Rockwell, you know, it didn't really change too much in that time. It's a little more polished. There's some more detail props around. Is the cow still here? Yes, the cow's still here. The movie theater. Let's fly.
It's the monochrome.
I'll fly over to that area that's now a mission in this build. So, yeah, that area that was completely demolished before is now has a farm. There's like some farm areas, and in the final game, you'd basically start off and go through and look at radioactive zombie mutant cows.
What?
Oh, yeah, and these are the which version of the SAM sites are these? Oh, these are the ones with the slow missile tracking, which is a little too slow right now, but I think we ended up speeding it up a little for the final build, but these are a little... Actually, no, these are just completely busted.
Oh my...
So yes, we did have some homing on the missiles.
No, I think that's how physics works.
I'm not
Yeah,
sure
they've
missiles
side rockets,
function
right?
like that.
Last I
Yeah.
checked.
Sure. So
Wait,
Spin
wait,
Robo
wait.
has a bit of a design question.
Mm-hmm.
Why do people constantly make menu options that only have one sub option in them?
Because oh god, I can answer this one. The user experience designer is mentally retarded.
Oh.
Wow.
Oh.
Take that, answer, huh?
Oh.
It depends on...
Why would you do this?
I feel.
Just suck every dick, UI designers.
Some of it is...
Not you, Panzer.
usually it's a pretty crappy thing to do.
Sorry.
On this one, it's because we were planning to put more options in. Like, if I go to subtitles on, it's because we were planning to put widescreen and a bunch of other stuff in here. So right now we only have one thing. On some other stuff, it's because the designer wants 1D navigation instead of 2D navigation. We actually had that in Rock Band a bunch, where especially because you had the guitar, we didn't want you like having to do 2D navigation on like a 1D control input. There's a bunch of different reasons. Another reason is that it's just really dumb and they didn't think about the usability.
Thank you. That's really
The dog agrees.
Phrased somewhat less aggressively.
I have a rage issue with like design.
Uh-huh.
Oh, we've all got our, little pet peeves.
Because you're a coder. Welcome to Design Call, coder.
He just sees bad menus and just gets a nosebleed of rage.
Why don't you go
I
to
had to
sub-
click one more time than I needed to. This is unacceptable.
Seriously, this is wasting my time.
Inefficient.
So Algebrail has a rather nice question. What was your favorite bug in development?
Oh, those are neat.
Oh, that's a good one. We had one bug. We kept a bug repository of like screenshots, and we wanted to do it as a bonus video, and I can't remember if it shipped or not. But one of my favorite bugs was in that farm area. There was a chunk of terrain that just disappeared. And it's not a huge chunk, but it was like a 25 by 25 meter chunk. And for some reason, when you would occasionally load into that chunk, a cow would be stuck through the terrain on it. So you would just see the cow's hooves sticking out from underneath the terrain, and this cow head sticking over the edge of the terrain chunk, just flopping around in ragdoll. It was just the most sad and hilarious combination
Please.
of things.
Please tell me it was like frantically like spazzing through moo sound effects.
It wasn't ragdoll spazzing, but it was moving. It was pretty great. I'm pretty sure I've got a screenshot of that somewhere. I'll dig it up and post it to my feed or something.
What happens when mobsters make a cow dig its own grave?
Kaboom Dragoon would like to know, how many times did you watch Plan 9 during development?
A lot, because we paid for the rights to have 5 minutes of Plan 9 on our movie screen in Rockwell.
Wow.
And you can
Yes.
you can watch that 5 minutes as well from the bonus section. So I've seen that
remember that.
5 minutes a lot. We
I
also,
need to see this section now. I love that movie.
we also bought the rights to Teenagers from Outer Space, the whole movie, and that's on the disc. And you can watch the whole of Teenagers from Outer Space from the bonus section.
What?
It actually cost us 10 times more to get the 5 minutes of Plan 9 than it did the whole of Teenagers from Outer Space.
Wow.
Are you surprised?
No, I shouldn't be surprised, but really the fact that any money changed hands for those movies is kind of
Well,
sad.
the Plan 9 is kind of a cult classic, at least in terms of.
They can afford to charge
Shit.
so much because it's the obvious thing to go to if you're doing a 1950s B movie
Yeah.
sci-fi game.
But I mean, when you think of Teenagers from Outer Space, you think of, my God, I need to turn this off after 15 minutes.
So let me just cycle through the other levels quickly. I think like we could try running some missions, but I'm pretty sure that they're all busted at this point. So we'll see 30 seconds of broken animations and stuff like that. There's no fun temp video, unfortunately, at this point.
Ah,
Uniontown. So I think at this point we'd changed from the D-pad for weapon selection, and now it's just a cycle on the X button. Just jump out and check that. Yeah, so this is just a cycle on the X button. It has the anal probe instead of the brain bug. Has the dots for the final sort of hiding system that we had. And then you change to abilities by holding down the left trigger, and then it has the abilities on the button. But yeah, this is pretty much the same stuff we had before. Like I said before, like a lot of the later levels, we just crammed them in at the end, so they go from being pretty empty to being done, essentially. That seems like probably the most interesting stuff. I guess I could show a little bit of Oddballs as well while the stream is up, since it's on the Xbox. Let me fire that up.
sure.
Hell
yeah, please.
Do you want me to go see if I can find the other controller while we're at this?
Good night, oatmeal raisin.
Okay, I am talking into my mic.
Yeah, you
work
sound
it.
fun. Okay, well, I haven't actually seen. Oh, Avalanche. There we go. I was always afraid to soft mod or hard mod like any console because I was afraid to get banned from, the networks.
Oh yeah, you'll get banned. But I lived in Australia, so I had no networks.
Right.
Which one of this worked? I think it was the patched that worked. No luck.
Are those bans actually effective? Like, if you even attempt to sign into one of those services even once?
So Oddballs is the game that you mentioned that was canceled.
Yeah. It was a game. It was a game we made before Destroy All Humans that got cancelled. It was. We pitched it to a bunch of people. We pitched it to THQ. We pitched it to Microsoft. We actually did a little bit of work with Microsoft on it before they passed on it, and we brought back the IP. It was a party game. It was around the time that Fusion Frenzy had just came out, and
Oh, okay.
we were like, okay, we're gonna make Fusion Frenzy 2 essentially.
We're gonna hop on this bandwagon.
Yeah, but we wanted to do something different. We were huge Mario Party fans, but we didn't want to just do another board game and minigame collection. So
Sure.
we made it's basically instead of the board game, it's a platformer, like a 3D platformer. And all of there's still turns, but the whole conceit for the turns is that you're controlling these monsters, and these monsters are narcoleptic. And so every 30 seconds, they just fall asleep in the world, and the next player starts up. But it also meant all of the players were in the world at the same time, so you can go through and run and slap other players that are in the world to get their currency and stuff like that. Hang on, let me start it up.
Oh my God.
And show some of this.
Oh,
Oh man, that's like, I don't want to say, that's not Magica levels of dickery. That's new Super Mario Brothers Wii levels of dickery.
So I only have the one controller, so I can't show you too much of this. But I can at least run you around the world a little bit. So this is kind of what we showed at PAX in September. So if you want to see this, but looking a little crappier because they couldn't get the AV setup working, we have 4-player footage of that up on the PAX channel. So this is about I forget if it was like 8 weeks or 10 weeks worth of work, but we basically built this from scratch. This is the Destroy All Humans engine before Destroy All Humans happened. And we built it for Oddballs, and we built basically getting a dev kit, like blank code to full game in about 10 weeks. So let me run you around this level a little bit. Okay, so we're in free roam mode, so I can show you a bunch of stuff.
Sorry, I couldn't find the other controller.
So this is a 4-player game, so it's not going to be too fun. But I can roll around and go around places faster. When I'm rolling, I can't eat these floating things, which are called quackles.
I love
The whole
quackles.
goal of the game is that this guy loves eating quackles. That's all he wants in life. And so you go around, and he goes and eats them. And he wants to try and eat this one, which is the whole goal of the game, essentially, is that he wants to eat this one, but to do it, he needs to get a key. To get a key, he has to crack open some eggs that are in the world, and to crack open the eggs in the world, he needs to eat 10 quackles. So let me go through and eat 10. I can fart them out for a speed boost as well, which is kind of cool. Let me just collect.
This, oh my God.
The other cool thing about this is that all of these traps in multiplayer were other player controlled. So while I'm running around, the other 3 players can activate traps to try and stop me from getting to my destination. So as I'd run towards them, they'll change the color of the player who's in control of it, and it's just like a quick, like 3-second, almost like timing mini game where you have to press it at the right time to knock out the player.
Oh, so that would whip around the logs and knock you over.
Yeah, and that would take out some of your time. So I have unlimited time because I'm in 1-player mode.
Right. Kaboom Dragoon raises a good point. This does look really sort of, first-gen Xbox. It reminds me a lot of Cameo, actually, in terms of art style.
yeah, that's it. Yeah, elements of whatever. That's
Elements
like
of power,
for-
yeah.
So this was 2002, I believe. So this was pre-Rare buying Microsoft.
Right.
Yeah. Let me see. I'm not sure I can crack open eggs in 1-player. Let's have a look. Oh, we also have the Crazy Taxi arrow in the top, which we never would have been allowed to ship, but it would have been nice.
Right.
No, I can't crack open eggs, so I can't show you the mini games, unfortunately. But it's kind of if you want to check out like how the game plays and stuff, definitely check out the PAX Prime live stream that has this in. I think it's just
Right.
Twitch TV/PAX2 or PAX official, whatever the PAX live.
Let me
stream
see if I
channel
can find it for you.
is. Yeah.
To hear you describe it, I was a little ambivalent about the concept, but actually this seems pretty fun. It's got kind of the almost elements of like Trapped, sort of the trap-based gameplay, in addition to some good old-fashioned dickery, I don't know.
It was really fun. I'm really this out of all the games we've made, like this is like the one I'm the saddest that no one got to play. Like it's really fun to play. Like it reminded me of that like Mario Party 2 sort of style of dickery and like good fun mini games and things like we had a 1 versus 3 mini game called Marco Polo, which functioned exactly like Marco Polo essentially, but the way that you'd play it is for the 3 players that were underwater. When you move slowly, you couldn't see yourself moving, but when you move fast, ripples would come off you. So half of that game was you trying to figure out where you were and where you had to move to avoid the one player. But at the same time, if you were too close to the guy or you just needed some kind of cue of where you were, you could just
give
move
yourself
quickly
away.
and it would ripple the water.
It's brilliant.
And then
Huh?
we had a bunch of other games. We had a slap club, which is in the PAX video, where it's basically just four oddballs in a ring, and they just slap each other. And every time they get slapped, they throw up a quackle. And so it's basically slapping them as much as possible. All these quackles are ejecting out, and the one with the most quackles at the end wins.
Tyler Glop
Clicked.
in the chat has posted the videos of the PAX Prime panels for anyone who'd like to watch those. It's actually a really awesome panel that that Bees put together that features the prototype for Bastion, and our good friend Sylvan shows off a really broken ass weird rap game, and and then we had a prototype of Iron Brigade from Double Fine in that panel. It was
Nice.
really good.
Yeah, it was pretty amazing panel. I'm glad everyone managed to turn out.
I mean, at the risk of sounding like a circle jerky name dropper, I would definitely have loved to see like the Freelance Astronauts or Pokey Captain and crew playing this. I think would have been really funny. I think.
Well, who knows? There are many PAXs. Maybe we can get Pokey Captain or any of those guys together and sort of play through a little bit as a proper group.
That would be pretty awesome.
Yeah, it does work. 4-player totally does work and is playable.
Oh
And
god.
thus, so there you go, ladies and gentlemen.
I would watch this.
Skippy
trailer.
Granola Industries, bringing you fucking magic.
So before we kill the stream, does anyone have like any other questions or stuff or things they want to see?
Do you have the trailer for Oddballs on that Xbox, or is that just on your laptop?
That's just on my laptop. It's on YouTube as well. If you want to search for it, the guy who animated it put it up on YouTube or Vimeo, I think it's actually. The more I think about it,
Vimeo.
Vimeo is okay. You leave Vimeo alone. It's just trying to do its best in the world.
Vimeo?
Okay, well I'm gonna. Sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, I just wanted to say thanks a lot for showing off this stuff. This has been really fascinating to get sort of the behind the scenes look at how a game is made, sort of.
Yeah, I mean it's kind of sad that.
Oh, sorry, can I cut you off there?
Yes.
How about your dev message, sir?
Nah, that's not happening.
The whole chat wants to see your dev message so bad.
Okay, let me tell you. The dev message contents are essentially. It asked what my favorite crunch food was, and I said butter chicken and coconut rice for some reason. Then I think I say thanks to my mum and my brother, and thanks for playing, and hope you enjoyed it more than we enjoyed making it.
Oh, just show us.
No,
Come on.
I'm. It's,
Even if you're not going to show it, at some point you need to, because it'd be a shame to lose that message to history.
At some point, I'll tell you what. At some point, I'll go through and I'll take screenshots of all the messages and I'll put them up somewhere so you can see all of the developer messages at once.
Aw.
There we go. That's all I ask for. That we don't lose such hilarious comedy.
I'll make sure my embarrassment is not avoided. I'll get that up. I'll get that up somewhere soon. I'll put it up on my Tumblr because that's what
He has to
Tumblr is
sleep
for.
sometime.
Thank you. All right. Well, thank you, Dan and Panzer.
Thanks for helping commentate. This is really awesome. I'm sad that
Yeah,
the
I
only
love
reason we
this.
can show this is
This is-
because there's no pandemic and probably no THQ. But if more of the people I work for go out of business, then maybe we can show some other stuff down the road.
Well, that's a
the old band
shame,
back
but
Cool. Well, thanks guys.
Thanks for
Thank
watching.
you.
good night, everyone.